I would like you guys to imagine me, your Algebra 2 teacher, Mr. Cutter, in Las Vegas.
Heck yeah.
And my friend and I are waiting for a tee time on a golf course.
What?
So, yeah, so you have like a reservation, and ours is like an hour and a half away. And so we're trying to kill a little bit of time before we go golfing. And my friend says, let's go play some poker. And I'm not really thrilled about this, right? I'd rather just play golf. And I don't want to lose any money. But I'm being a good sport, and so I'm going to go sit at the poker table. So I take $100 in like these little chips and sit down at a poker table. And my plan is just not to lose a bunch of money. So I'm going to play really conservative. I don't want to bet too heavy. I just want to kill some time before I get to go golfing. So I sit down at this poker table. And actually, you know what? I need to grab my notes so I remember what hand I had.
You had an ace of spades.
Well, I remember what I had. I need to remember what the flop was and everything like that.
You're gonna get a full house.
Okay, so everything's going great. Until all of a sudden, this hand happens, and I look down, and the cards that I'm looking at are the Jack of Hearts and the Jack of Diamonds. So if you're a poker player, that's called pocket jacks, and it's good. Jacks are a high card, that's a good hand to have, and you have a good chance at winning some money with those cards. By the way, since I was dealt these cards, I know that they're no longer in the deck, so I'm just going to remove them from the dealer's list of possible cards over here. You guys saw what I did there. Yeah, great. So this is what I'm dealt. And I pay a little bit of money to see the flop on this hand, which means that I'm actually going to see what the dealer deals out here. And this is what comes down. And you guys are going to love this. There's a 3 of spades. There is a king of hearts. And there is a jack of spades. So that's good. And so if you know nothing about poker, that's totally okay, but suffice it to say that having 2 of a kind is good, having 3 of a kind is even better. So 3 jacks now, and I'm thinking to myself like, I'm gonna win this hand. I have a really good hand. I'm sitting across from a Vegas guy. Look at big scary Vegas guy. This guy has a lot more money in front of him than I do, and he's betting freely. Clearly somebody who knows what he's doing. Well, that's what I'm thinking, right? I have a better hand than this guy. So he's betting and betting and betting, and finally I say, you know what? I'm calling your bluff. And I push all of my chips into the table. Exactly. I'm all in. So I'm all in. So at this time, we turn over our cards. So he sees that I have pocket jacks, and he goes, oh no, you're gonna so beat me. And he turns over his cards. And this is what he has. He has an ace of spades. And he has a king of clubs. Okay, ace of spades and king of clubs. So by the way, he's looking at 2 kings. So he has a pair of kings, but I have 3 of a kind jacks. So I have a better hand than this guy. By the way, meanwhile, the 3 of spades is gone, the jack of spades is gone, and now I know that the ace of spades and the king of clubs are both gone.
And the king of hearts?
And the king of hearts is gone too. Great. Guys with me? Okay, so there's still 2 more cards. So everything is still in my favor here. The next card that comes down is the 7 of spades. The 7 of spades. So it doesn't really mean very much because it's not a king or a jack. So I still have 3 jacks and he still has 2 kings. 1 card to go. Guys, what is my nightmare scenario? What do I not want to see come up right now?
A king or a queen.
A king or a queen. Why a queen?
Wouldn't that be a royal flush?
Not quite a royal flush,
It's a flush.
but it would be a flush. So, right, first and foremost, if he gets another king, then he has 3 kings, and I have 3 jacks, and 3 kings beats 3 jacks. By the way, in case you forgot, all of my money is already on the table. Like I'm about to lose every dollar that I have on the table at this point. All right, so I don't want to see kings. Guys, what's the probability that I see a king?
Isn't it one?
2 over.
I heard 2. Why 2?
Because there are 2 kings right now.
Because there are 2 kings accounted for, and there are 2 kings left in the deck. So there's 2 kings there, and then how many cards are left over? 44, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 52 cards in the deck. 2 out of 44. What do you guys think about that probability? Pretty bad, right? I should probably win this hand. You guys know what happened, don't you?
Bad luck.
No, a king came up and I lost. I got those terrible odds and I totally, it's called a bad beat in poker. He beat his bad chances and he beat me. Alright, well, anyway, Brandon, or maybe it was Noah, pointed this out a second ago. A king is not the only card that causes me to lose here. What else could happen? A queen? No, a queen wouldn't do too much. An ace would give him 2 pair, but 3 of a kind is still better than 2 pair. But if you're not a poker player, you might not recognize this. Spades, 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 and spades.
Oh!
If you have 5 cards that are all the same suit, that's called a flush. And it's better than 3 of a kind. So there's another way that I could lose this game. If this card is a spade, then he gets a flush, and I lose. How many spades are left in the deck?
9.
There are 9 spades left out of 44 cards. So the question is, how many ways are there for me to lose this game? 2 ways, those kings, and then also the spades, right? So what is the just general probability? Noah, what do you think?
Did you add up the probability? Or like 10 and 4?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, because all of the ways to lose plus all the other ways to lose, what would you expect the chances of me losing to be?
44.
What did you say?
10 of 44?
10 out of 44. That's very interesting. Where did you get that number 10?
Because there are to be 2 kings and 1 of the kings is a spade, so.
Exactly. So, right, there's 2 kings, there's 9 spades. That should be 11 cards. So you'd expect it to be 11, except what's wrong?
One of the kings is a spade.
The king of spades is both a king and a spade. All right, so let's take another way of looking at this. And I want you guys to pay attention right over here. Win with 3 kings and win with a flush. Okay. My friendly Vegas guy right over here can beat me in 2 different ways. He can win with the kings, or he can win with a spade. And the kings, remember there's that one red king, the king of diamonds. So that's here, he wins with kings. And then all of the different spades, right? 2, 4, then what's left? 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, queen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the king of spades is a king and a spade. So it goes in between those 2 on the Venn diagram. Okay. So here's the deal. 1 way for him to beat me with kings. 9 ways for him to beat me with a flush, including the 1 way to beat me with a flush that is also a king. So what we're talking about here, guys, is probability of overlapping events. And I'm going to give you a formula here. Looks like this. Probability of A or B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. And this formula right here is something worth getting down into your notes. To put this in perspective, the probability of A or B That's the probability that I lose to 3 of a kind kings or to a flush. It doesn't matter how I lose, all that matters is that my money is gone. So the probability of losing to kings was 2 out of 44. Plus the probability of losing to a flush, which was 9 out of 44, minus the probability of losing to both at the same time, which is 1 out of 44, is going to give us our total answer, 10 out of 44, which is exactly what Noah just said our odds of losing were going to be. Probability of overlapping events. Question?
That's still only a 22% chance. So
It's still only a 22% chance, I know.
it sucks.
I had a 78% chance to win that $200, and I lost it. So the moral of the story is what?
Don't gamble.
Don't gamble. Amen. Don't gamble. But the probability of the story is don't double count things that fit into multiple categories. And if you're calculating or probability, you have to remember to subtract the probability of both events occurring simultaneously. Questions?